or somebody who provided a mothering kind of influence in your life? What was it that they really provided for you? You know, this is advice, friendship,
Unconditional love.
unconditional love. Yep. What was yours, Jeff? Protection. We're going with our text today. Yeah, protection. Yeah. Anybody think that their mom was sort of the glue, or their grandmother, some matriarch is the glue that kind of held it all together? No matter how things were kind of unraveling, mom was the one who sort of made the bridge, had it all work out. I had a really eclectic group of friends. Some were athletes, and some were musicians, and some were pretty aggressive types of personalities, and some were just, well, weird. And what a surprise, I know. And yet my mom could just bring that group together, a group of friends together. If we were at my house, my mom was just able to hang with them. My dad would have to leave and go garden or go to the barn or something, but my mom was right there in the mix of it and just kind of let it roll. So, someone once joked about his mom. My mother taught me religion. You ready? She used to say things like, "You better pray that comes out of the carpet." Yeah. My mother taught me medicine. If you don't stop crossing your eyes, they're going to freeze that way. Anybody's mom does that? That was mine. Yeah, mine was. My mother taught me how to be a contortionist. Will you look at the dirt on the back of your neck? Makes sense. My mother taught me to appreciate a job well done. If you're going to kill each other, do it outside. I just finished cleaning the house. My mother taught me about genetics. You are just like your father. My mother taught me logic. Because I said so, that's why. Of course. What was something that your mom provided? What was she that, some of the crazy things that moms do? My mom just always insisted, whenever we went somewhere, not just normal places, but someplace, my mother would always insist that I had on clean underwear, just in case there was an accident. And I wanted to know what kind of accident she was talking about, and why would it matter if that were the case afterwards? So if you had a good mom, there's distinctive things that moms provide for you. I don't know if any of you had a mother like that. Maybe we all had a mother like that, but we have all kinds of different moms in our lives, don't we? We have the mom that gave us birth. We have adoptive moms and stepmoms, and we have bonus moms, and many of the women in this congregation are like moms to my kids and like moms to me from time to time. And it's sort of the faithfulness that comes with that, and the prayerfulness that comes from that. The center of this particular lesson is that Jesus is praying. Now, this is sort of Johannine logic. It's kind of hard to dice out what even John is saying in this prayer, but the basic is Jesus is praying, and he's praying for his people. He's praying for his 12 apostles, disciples, but he's also in this prayer, the longer version, not so much in the text today, is praying for all of us, those who will believe because of the witness of those disciples. So God is praying for you. I think that's really quite amazing that God continues to pray for us. In Romans, it says that Jesus intercedes for us. The Spirit of God intercedes for us before the throne of God. Jesus continues to be in prayer for his people in the world. I think that's an amazing thing, that God holds us in God's heart. And how profound that is. Think about what that means. Now, I know we're in an age where thoughts and prayers is sort of now political language, but holding someone in prayer is really holding them in your heart. It's holding them in your mind's eye and lifting them up to the one who can bless them. Prayer is a powerful thing. There was a mother born in 311 AD. Her name is Monica, and she was a mom like regular moms in many ways, except she lived in a different age and a different culture. And she was not a Christian. She lived in North Africa, Algeria, today it's called. And she came to the Christian faith early in her life as a young woman. And her parents were not Christians and didn't appreciate the fact that their daughter converted to faith. So they married her off to a Roman citizen, a Roman leader, and into a forced marriage, a marriage that she did not want to be a part of. Her husband respected the faith that she had, but did not share that faith. He was a Roman, and so he had the old pantheon of gods. And Monica was a praying person. Well, Monica and Patricius, her husband, would go on to have 3 children. So they had 3 children in their home, along with her and Patricius' mother. So her mother-in-law was living in the house as well. Neither her husband nor her mother-in-law were Christians. But she was a praying person. And she raised 3 children, 2 of whom went into the religious life. They became religious leaders in this early Christian movement in the 4th centuries in Algeria. But the 3rd son, he was kind of a handful. He wasn't really into that religious thing. He was on to his own life. He was marching by the beat of his own drummer. He was into his own stuff. But later in his life, this young man would write about the powerful effect of the prayers of his mother, that his mother held him in her heart as she prayed for him. And eventually, this young man also converted. In fact, interestingly enough, later in life, when this young man named Augustine converted, so did his father and his grandmother convert all at the same time. We know him today as Saint Augustine, one of the most influential thinkers in the Christian church, even today. The power of a praying mother, the power of people who hold each other in prayer. How important is that in terms of our society? How important is that in terms of our relationships with each other, that we are holding each other up for God to bless? There's so many things that we don't have control over in our world today. There's so many things that we'd like to change, but we don't have the moxie or the ability or the position to do it. But we can invite God into these situations and be prayerful to be like that leaven or yeast in the loaf that continues to change things. And in our gospel reading today, we hear about Jesus praying for us. And really, I think that's quite an amazing thing. Listen to what he's talking about. This is the night that Jesus is going to be arrested. He already knows, is self-aware in the passage, that Judas is going to betray him. And he includes Judas in this prayer. Shortly before he's betrayed, Jesus prays these things for you and me. Holy Father, protect them by the power of your name, the name that you gave me, so that they may be one as we are one. You notice that even this sort of mother and God is concerned about that thread that holds the family together. I will remain in the world no longer, but they will be in the world. And I'm coming to you, Holy Father. Protect them by the power of your name, the name that you gave me, so that they may be one, even as we are one. It's important to Christ that the church is one, that we're united. As you look at the state of the church today, you know that we're really not living up to the prayer of Jesus very well, but we're working on it. He knew that the journey would be difficult for his believers. He knew that they were going to be left in the world, and the world would have its way with them, just as if they had its way with him. But Jesus wasn't just thoughts and prayers. It was sacrificial action that Jesus was about. In fact, he is right at that moment preparing for the cross. On the night of his betrayal, Jesus prayed for his disciples. Each one of them in their own way would betray, not like Judas, but they would all flee and abandon him in his time of need. And yet Jesus lifts them up, that they would have the courage once he's gone to be standing shoulder to shoulder, side by side. That next day he would offer his sacrificial love for them and for us, and on our behalf, on that cross of suffering and death. Love does this. Good love does this. What does a good mom do? She sacrifices so that their children may have a better place in life. Love pays that price. Love prays for the beloved. Love holds us together. Love sacrifices. And love provides hope, doesn't it? That kind of love provides us with a sort of strength for moving forward in our life. The sense that somebody's got your back, that unconditional love, somebody said over on this side of the room, that unconditional love does something to us, doesn't it? It shapes us, knowing that your mom, even if she's not here anymore, is that one person who rooted for you, believed in you, and had your back, that makes all the difference in the world. And that's how we're really supposed to see this gospel reading today, is that Jesus continues to hold us in his heart and has our back. We have a God who won't let us go. For many of us, our moms were the ones who were the glue that held the family together. For many of us, mom was the faithful one who prayed, right? Who lived out their faith for us, that raised us in the faith, that insisted on it. And such love and prayer is a source of great hope and great strength in the midst of adversity. The great preacher Gardner Taylor was visiting with Vernon Jordan. I have that wrong at the first service. I said Clarence Jordan, totally different guy. Vernon Jordan, then the national director of the Urban League. I had a little snafu where my Microsoft wanted to update this morning, so I couldn't get in and print my sermon, so I had to do it from memory. So some of the mistakes, some of the names were changed to protect the ignorant, me, from remembering the right names. So anyways, Vernon Jordan was the then director of the Urban League. And shortly after his assassination attempt on Jordan's life, May 29th, 1980. At the time, Jordan was in the painful process of recovery from the wounds inflicted by the sniper. He said as he lay there in the bed, he told Taylor, this pastor that came to visit him, something that had gone through his mind that night when he was shot on that remote road as he lay there in his blood, thinking he was going to die. He said there was one thought that kept coming back to him as he lay there. When he had been a student, he said, this is the thought, when he had been a student living away from home, his mother had written to him every day. Some letters were quite short, some were longer. Some had borne news from home, while others had very little to do with family. But always at the end of every letter, after her signature, his mother had written these words, "Remember, son, if you trust God, He will take care of you." Remember, son, if you trust God, He will take care of you. And Vernon Jordan said that out there in the darkness, lying there in his own blood on that road, he began to look at all those letters in his mind, in which when his mother signed off, she continued to put that line, "Remember, son, if you trust God, He will take care of you." And he said it was like the only life raft that showed up for me that night. It was the only thing I could cling to as I was lying there dying. He said later his mother came from from Atlanta to Fort Wayne and stood at his bedside, and Vernon Jordan reached for her hand and spoke not as one of America's great black leaders, but as a mother's child. And he said, "Mama," which is what he still called his mother, "you told me that if I trust God, He will take care of me. Mama, thank you." You know, the things that mothers provide, the things that the social structures that we have, the authentic, poignant relationships that we have in our life have huge impacts on us in ways that we don't even know until we're really pressed by things, you know? I have letters from my own mother. I used to make fun of her. She always had the same signature sign-off. It was "Love as ever." I thought about putting it on her tombstone because it was the same line, sort of like Vernon Jordan's, "Love as ever." And I always waited for like what the next thing was, like she was going to say something else and forgot, you know. But now it's almost like love as ever, it just keeps going, especially now that she has died. These relationships, the things that we provide for one another, sometimes have surprising impacts where we don't even anticipate them to be. Sometimes this idea just to hold us together, you know, to be the glue that makes things work together, has such a profound impact that it's not even felt until they're gone. And then we realize the gift that we've been given, and the gift that has been given to us that we are to live into and pass forward. Our text ends for today from John 17 with these words that Jesus prayed, "As you have sent me into the world, I have sent them into the world. For them I sanctify myself, so that they too may be truly sanctified." As God's people, we have a God that loves us unconditionally. We don't have a God that loves us only as far as we can perform for this God. We have a God that sees us at our worst moment, at our most broken moment, at our most lost moment, and comes to sweep us up. This is the good news of the grace of God in Christ, is that there's no dark corner to which you can go to hide from this God, because God will find you. God is like a loving mother who will scour the universe for all of her lost children and will never give up on us. This unconditional love, this infinite fidelity to us is what marks the Christian God apart from all other gods. You know, we live in a world of performance-based worth, right? I mean, when you leave this place, everywhere you go, it's based on whether or not you can perform, except here. What you're based on here is a God who will not let you go because you're His. All that are mine are yours, Jesus says. Even when we cannot perform, even when the brokenness of our life overtakes us, even when we reach the point of death, we have a God that has stood there before. The God from the cross, in His dying words, continues to be the glue that holds together humanity, who looks down from the cross and looks at His own earthly mother and says, "Hey, I've got a new family, Mom," and looks at His beloved disciple John and says, "Behold your mother, and mother, behold your son." And He looks at a lost son who's hanging next to Him, crucified, a lost son who's lost his way. He's there because he's a thief, and instead of having his hand lopped off, he's being crucified next to the Lord of life. And Jesus turns to him and says, "Today you will be brought home with me. I'm the glue that holds it all together." And we are sent on a mission like that. That's the God that we follow. And so this is the God that we are supposed to resemble in the world. As you have sent me into the world, Father, I now send them. We are to have a distinctive look, a people that won't give up hope, a people that will continue to pray, a people that will purpose ourselves for the sake of redemption of all people, to look around us and instead of saying, I want none of that, to say, Lord, how do you want me to have some of that? I was in Ohio this past week to celebrate my nephew's graduation from college, which was awesome, and to spend time with family. And I stood by the grave of my own mother and gave thanks for her. I could agree with the video at the opening of our worship, Matthew West's lyrics, the song, I'm becoming me because of you. If there was ever a song that sent us into the world, that lyric itself, whose life are you shaping so that they're becoming them because of you? It begins with a quote. I don't know if we saw that. I was probably not looking up at the moment. The 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, said, all that I ever was or hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. Imagine. My mom shaped my life. Only now beginning to unpack the ways in which she did that. And I hope your mom did too. In the most positive and the most productive ways. I hope that you will live into what a good mother provides. This is the last in a series of sermons on our times. So my sermon title for tonight, right now actually, my sermon title for right now is Our Times Need What Good Mothers Give. Our times need what good mothers give. We too are a sent people. That we're not just disciples of Jesus, those who follow him, but we are apostles of Jesus. The word means to throw, to be sent out, to go forth into our world, to give our times what good mothers give. May we be the kinds of people for a hurting, broken, and needy world. Jesus loved the church like a good mother loves her child. And he invites us into a relationship of love and into the family of God. Remember that this Mother's Day. Made holy by our connection to him, we are free to love others with his love. And our times need what good mothers give. Amen.